Continuing where I left off, 9 days the people feasted, and the altars fumed it with offerings. Light airs lulled the sea, and blowing often from the south renewed, there called to cross the main, a sound of weeping rose on the curving shore as by a night, and then a day, embracing, they postponed it. Even those women, even those men, to whom the sea's face had seemed harsh, his very name, intolerable, now desired to go, and bear all exiles told. Aeneas spoke to them with kindness, and commended them in tears to their blood brother Acetus. He decreed 3 calves by slaying 2 eryx and a lamb. To the storm winds, cables were then cast off, as he himself, wearing an olive garland, standing upon the prow apart, held out the shallow cup and flung the vitals down into the salt surf, then pour out the wine. Wind coming up astern blew in their wake, as crewmen struck their oars into the swell and swept the path over the sea. But now, beset with worries, Venus turned to Neptune, unfolding from her heart complaints and pleas. Juno's anger and her implacable heart drive me to prayers beneath my dignity. No length of time, no piety affects her, unbroken in will by Jove's commands or fate. She never holds her peace. To have devoured a city from the heart of Phrygia's people, in her vile hatred, this was not enough, nor to have dragged the remnant left from Troy through all harassment. Now she harries still Troy's bones and ashes. She alone may know the causes of such madness. You yourself are witness to the giant storm she roused not long ago in the sea off Libya, mixing sea and sky with hurricane winds. Of Iolus her standby, though in vain, and all this dared in your domain. But look at her now, her new crime, how she egged on the Trojan women to their foul ship burning, making the Trojans, for that loss of ships, forsake their own folk in a strange country. But as to what comes next, I beg you, let them safely entrust their sailing ships to you across the water. Let them reach that stream, Laurentine Tiber, if one may concede these favors, if the Parcae grant their city. The son of Saturn, tamer of the deep, replied, Cytherea, you have every right to trust my kingdom. You were born from it. Then too I merited your trust. So often have I repressed those mad fits and that fury of heavens in the sea, on land as well as Xanthus and Samos can testify. I care for your Aeneas. That day Achilles, hot in pursuit, pinned Trojan troops half dead with fright against their walls, and killed a myriad, making the rivers choke it with corpses groan. So Xanthus could not find his bed or send his current seaward. Then Aeneas fought against the odds, against the frown of heaven, the mighty son of Peleus. It was I who caught and saved them in a sack of cloud. Lust though I did to cast down walls, I built with my own hands, walls of oath breaking Troy. To this day my regard for him is the same. Dispel your fear. He shall, as you desire, enter Avernus port. One shall be lost, but only one to look for, lost at sea. One life given for many. He assured, and cheered the goddess in this way, then yoked his team with gold, fitted the foaming bits in their wild mouths, and let the reins run free, flying light on the crest in his blue car. Waves calmed and quieted in the long sea swell, smooth out under his thundering axle tree, and storm clouds thinned away in heaven's vast air. Now came the diverse shapes of his companions, enormous whales and Glaucus' hoary troop, Palamon, son of Iono, arrowy Tritons, Porcus' whole host, Thetis and Melete, and virgin Panipia on the left. Nasae, Spio, Thalia, Samodasi, the joys of the fair weathered fill in turn Aeneas' attentive heart. Up with the mast, he ordered, sails unfurled from the yard's arms. The seamen, as one, hauled on the sheets. Now port, now starboard, set the bellying canvas envily to the wind, and took the braces, veering this way and that, yard arms aloft, until the freshening stern wind filled the sails, and bore them onward. On the leading ship, Palinurus guided the close formation, all under orders to set course by him. Now dewy night had touched her midway mark, or nearly, and the crews, relaxed in peace, on their hard rowing benches, took their rest, when Somnus, gliding softly from the stars, put the night air aside, parted the darkness. Palinurus in quest of you, he brought bad dreams to you, in all your guiltiness. Upon the high poop deck, the god sat down in Phorbas' guise, and said, Son of Iasus, Palinurus, the very sea itself, moves the ship onward. There's a steady breeze. The hour for rest has come. Put down your head, and steal a respite for your tired eyes. I'll man your tiller for a while. But Palinurus barely looked around. He said, Forget my good sense for this peaceful face. The sea puts on the calm swell. Put my trust in Capricious' monster, or hand over Aeneas to the tricky winds, when I have been deceived so often by clear weather? With this response, he held fast to the helm and would not give it up, but kept his eyes upon the stars. Now see the god, his bow adripped with loose drew, and slumberous with Stygian power, giving it a shake over the pilot's temples, to unfix, although he fought it, both his swimming eyes. His unexpected drowse barely begun, Somnus leaned over him and flung him down in the clear water, breaking off with him a segment of the stern and steering oar. Head first he went down, calling in vain on friends. The god himself took flight into thin air, but still the fleet ran safely on its course, serene in Father Neptune's promises. Borne onward, now it neared the Siren's reef, the old-time Perel, white with many bones, now loud, far off with trample of surf on rock. Here the commander felt a lost of way, as his ships had swung off, lacking a helmsman, and he himself took over, holding course in the night waves. Hard hit by friend's fate, and sighing bitterly, he said, For counting overmuch on a calm world, Palinurus, you must lie naked on some unknown shore. Book 6. The World Below. So grieving, in tears, he gave the ship her head before the wind, drawing toward land at the Euboean settlement of Cuma. Ships came about, prows pointing seaward, anchors biting to hold them fast, and rounded sterns indented all the water's edge. The men debarked in groups, eager to go ashore upon Hesperia. Some struck seeds of fire out of the veins of flint, and some explored the virgin woods, layers of wild things for fuel, pointing out, too, what streams they found. Aeneas, in duty bound, went inland to the heights where overshadowing Apollo dwells, and nearby, in a place apart, a dark, enormous cave, a Sibyl feared by men. In her, the Delainian god of prophecy inspires uncanny powers of mind and soul, disclosing things to come. Here, Trojan captains walked to Diana off the crossroads wood, and entered under the roofs of gold. They say that Daedalus, when he fled the realm of Minos, dared to entrust himself to stroking wings and to the air of heaven, unheard of path on which he swam away to the cold north, at length to touch down on that very height of the Chaucilians, Here, on earth again, he dedicated to you, Phobos Apollo, the twin sweeps of his wings. Here he laid out a spacious temple. In the entranceway, Androgio's death appeared. Then Cecrops' children ordered to pay in recompense each year the living flesh of 7 sons. The urn from which the lots were drawn stood molded there, and facing it, upon the opposite door, the land of Crete, emergent from the sea. Here the brutish act appear, Pasiphae being covered by the bull in the cow's place. Then her mixed breed, her child of double form, the Monitor, get of unholy lust. Here too that puzzle of the house of Minos, the maze none could untangle, until, touched by a great love shown by a royal girl. Here Daedalus himself unraveled all, the baffling turns and dead ends in the dark, guiding the blind way back by a skein on wound. In the high sculpture you, too, would have had your great part, Icarus, had grief allowed. Twice your father had tried to shape your fall in gold, but twice his hands dropped. Here the Trojans would have passed on and gazed and read it all, had not Achetus, who they had sent ahead, returned now with the priestess of Apollo and of Diana, goddess of the crossroads, Daphobe and Sibyl and Glaucus' daughter. Thus she addressed the king. The hour demands no lagging over sights like these. Instead, you should make offering of 7 young bulls from an ungelded herd, and 7 again well-chosen ewes. With these words, Phryanius orders his men were quick to act upon. The priestess called them to her lofty shrine. The cliff's huge flank is honeycombed, cut out in a cavern perforated 100 times, having 100 months, with rushing voices carrying the response of the Sibyl. Here, as the men approached the entranceway, the Sibyl cried out, "Now is the time to ask your destinies," and then, "The god, look there, the god!" And as she spoke, neither her face nor hue went untransformed, nor did her hair stay neatly bound. Her breast heaved, her wild heart grew large with passion, taller to their eyes, and sounding now no longer like a mortal, since she had felt the god's power breathing near. She cried, "Slow are you in your vows and prayers? Trojan Aeneas, are you slow? Be quick! The great mouths of the god's house, thunderstruck, will never open till you pray." Her lips closed tight on this. A chill ran through the bones of the tough Teucrians, but their king poured out entreaties from his deepest heart. "O Phobos, god who took pity on the pain of Troy, who guided Paris' hand, his darting shaft against the body of Aeacites, as you led on, I entered all these seas, washing great lands, and then the distant tribe of the Massilians at the search's edge. Now we take hold, at last, of Italy, that slipped away so long. Grant that the fortune of Troy shall have pursued us this far only. All of you gods and goddesses as well, who took offense at Ulium and our pride. At last and rightly, you may spare Pergamon's children, most holy prophetess. For knowing things to come, I ask no kingdom other than fate allows me. Let our people make their settlement in Latium, with all Troy's wandering gods and shaken powers. Then I shall dedicate a temple here to Phobos and Diana on the crossroads, ordering festal days in Phobos' name. A holy place awaits you in my kingdom, where I shall store your prophecies, your dark revelations to my people, and appoint a chosen priesthood for you, gracious one. But now commit no verses to the leaves, or they may be confused, shuffled, and whirled by playing winds. Chant them aloud, I pray. Then he fell silent, but the prophetess, whom the best-striding god had not yet broken, stormed about the cavern, trying to shake his influence from her breast, while all the more he tired her mad jaws, quailed her savage heart, and tamed her by his pressure. In the end, the cavern's 100 mouths all of themselves unclosed to let the Sibyl's answers through. You, sir, now quit at last of the sea's dangers, for whom still greater are in the store on land. The Dardan race will reach Leviathan country. Put that anxiety away. Put where there will wish they had not come. Wars, vicious wars, I see ahead, in Tiber foaming blood. Samois, Xanthus, Dorians encamped. You'll have them all again, with an Achilles, child of Latium, he too, goddess born. And nowhere from pursuit of Teucrians will Juno stray, while you go to destitute, begging so many tribes and towns for aids. I'm going to leave it off there. Thank you for watching, and if you want, please subscribe, and you can comment, give it a thumbs up, thumbs down, or just view it, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.